Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and with movies, some of them are great, others are fantastic, whilst a select few manage to make it into a certain level of notoriety where they become timeless classics. We will be discussing today a series of films that certainly fall within this category, whilst at the same time talking about how Sylvester Stallone almost died as a result of it. Now, in order for a lot of actors and we're on a new set. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, I've very recently moved house, which means that all of this behind me is pretty much work in progress. So over the next few weeks, you'll hopefully see some improvements and make everything look a little bit more visually appealing rather than just having to stare at my face all the time. Anyway, actors these days do have a lot of help when it comes to trying to mould and shape their bodies into the desired form for an upcoming film. They may have the help of CGI or dietitians to help push them along to get them to the stages where they need to be before filming begins. Back in the 80s, however, things weren't that simple, and there had to be a lot more physical endurance, both physically and mentally, to get people prepared for these roles. And Sylvester Stallone isn't an exception to the rule. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't actually realise the amount of effort and work that went into actors getting ready for these roles, and it's only become apparent over the past few years just how much work went into it. And it's only been through recent years where actors such as Stallone himself have revealed the amount of work that he put in to prepare himself for the roles, in particular in the Rocky films he starred in. As a matter of fact, just to show how impressive his portfolio is, on IMDb at the date of recording this video, he has 83 acting credits, so he has been busy over the past few years. Sylvester Stallone is an incredibly well-known actor, and just to remind you of some of the highlights of his career, he has starred in such films as The Expendables, Spy Kids, Rambo, and of course, the Rocky series. Not gonna lie, to run up and down the stairs in my new apartment, I'm humming to myself the Eye of the Tiger theme tune just to get me in the mood to make this video. Rocky is a series of films starring Sylvester Stallone in the leading role of the legendary boxer Rocky Balboa. And if you've never seen the Rocky films before and you have it on your list of movies to watch, then I would certainly recommend watching it. And no, I don't mean that fake list you tell your friends you have just to get out of a conversation to not bother watching a film they recommend to you. I mean an actual list that you will actually watch, put it on it and watch it, because it's a timeless classic. Or should I say, they are timeless classics. There's been multiple at this point. As you can probably imagine, if you're going to be starring in a movie where you're playing a professional athlete, you need to be in tip-top condition before filming starts. And yes, Stallone trained hard for his movies and prepared to look in the best physical shape possible, in particular for his training and run-up to Rocky III, where he was in such good form he could probably knock your head off with a single blow. Sylvester Stallone has even gone on record by saying that his main goal for the filming of Rocky III was mainly focused on muscle definition rather than in his previous films where he was looking more at building muscle itself. I wanted to look like Tarzan, sleek, tight, almost cat-like. I wanted to forget the bulk and go for well-developed muscles. And it's easy to see that he achieved this. But at what price? As a matter of fact, just to demonstrate how physically and mentally demanding this must have been, Stallone put up an Instagram post where he showed a behind-the-scenes picture of him on set, and he commented on this and said the following. Just for fun, a flashback from Rocky III. Between rounds I would get lightheaded and quite exhausted. I was on a very high protein diet which did not provide much physical or mental energy. During the period I only ate very small portions of oatmeal cookies made with brown rice and up to 25 cups of coffee a day with honey and a couple of scoops of tuna fish. Sounds incredible, right? At the time my body fat got down to 2.9, which is a really dangerous level. I may have looked pretty good on the outside, but inside it was a very dangerous thing to do. But I wanted the movie to be about change, how people have to adapt to different challenges because if they don't, they will be conquered. I will always believe that adaptation is the key to survival, and that's what his story is all about. And while getting smashed by super strong Clubber Lang continuously for 4 months of rehearsal, plus the fight, tended to wear a person out, so I would literally go to the corner between rounds, when I wasn't directing to try and get some blood back into my head so I could carry on with the complicated fighting choreography. It's funny, I never knew this picture existed. Arguably, this isn't even the hardest thing he's ever had to do whilst filming a Rocky film, because during Rocky IV, he had to face off and stand toe-to-toe with the Soviet Union's best boxer, Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. And anybody that knows this man knows that he is an absolute machine. In the film's climax, Rocky has to fight Ivan Drago in a 45-minute gruel, and after that long of a bout and over 15 rounds, manages to win by the skin of his teeth. That, of course, after taking an absolute beating from his opponent, mind you. Stallone, who was directing the film at the time, wanted to make this film look as realistic and as entertaining as possible. So Stallone even tried to convince Dolph Lundgren to do a real-life spar with him to try and get some realistic footage to prepare for the film. Dolph wasn't too keen on this, however, mainly because of a previous incident that had occurred on set between him and Carl Weathers, another actor where he punched him literally across the ring, and Carl Weathers almost quit the movie as a result of this happening. This only didn't happen because of the fact that Stallone stepped in and calmed the tensions down. The truth of the matter was, tensions were high and Dolph didn't want a repeat of what happened last time. However, Stallone insisted, and after a little bit of convincing, Dolph relented and agreed to spar him. Really at this stage, I don't think he quite realised what he let himself in for, and Stallone was probably going to regret doing this. As a matter of fact, the inspiration to do this came from the fact that Stallone had very recently just watched the bout between Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, a middleweight boxing championship fight where he had seen the pure ferocity and speed of these fighters in the first round. The non-stop speed and aggression in the first explosive round of this fight was truly thrilling, and as a result, Stallone wanted to replicate that in the final fight scene of Rocky IV. Okay, so picture it. The first round, the bell rings. The two square up in the ring. Dolph punches Stallone so hard in the chest that he goes flying back. Something quite important that I forgot to mention until now was Dolph could hit like an absolute 16-wheeler. In fact, Lundgren hit Stallone so hard in this single punch that his heart smashed against the inside of his chest, causing his heart to swell up and almost kill him. Sylvester Stallone was very recently interviewed by Ain't It Cool and was asked actually about what his worst on-set injuries were during his filming years. And of course, he talked about this incident. After the third take of taking body blows, I felt a burning in my chest, but ignored it. Later that night, I couldn't breathe very well and they took me to the emergency room. The next thing I knew, I was on a low-altitude flight from Canada to St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. And there I resided in intensive care for 8 days. He struck me so hard in my chest that my heart slammed against my breastbone and began to swell. So the beating became laboured. And without medical attention, the heart would have continued to swell until it stopped. Many people that have car accidents die like this when the steering wheel slams into their chest. So, in a sense, I was hit by a streetcar named Drago. You know what, it's really nice to see that Stallone has a sense of humour about all of this, especially because of the fact that he could have died as a result of it. But, to be honest, he probably had it coming to him when he asked Dolph to hit him square in the chest. Put it this way, if it was my film and I was standing face to face with that guy, I wouldn't care about realism, I just don't want to get punched in the chest by him. Dolph Lundgren was even asked about this, and he said the following: "All I did was obey orders. He was the boss, I did what he told me." The man managed to get 2 weeks off filming due to the fact that Stallone was in hospital at the time, so silver linings and all that, I guess. After his recovery, Stallone even commented on the fact that when they went to the insurance company to try and claim for the accident, they didn't initially believe them because the injuries that Stallone had sustained were similar to that of somebody that had been in a car accident or someone that had been hit by a truck. Now, the insurance company wouldn't pay out until they saw physical evidence of this happening, video footage of the actual injury occurring, and once they showed them, they paid up immediately. So I think this whole thing just really goes to show how strong of a man he is and really how hard he punched Stallone in the chest. Oh, what a fantastic film Rocky IV is, and it has to be by far my favourite. The soundtrack is just sublime. And come to think of it, if real life boxing was as thrilling and as entertaining as that final fight in Rocky IV was, nobody would ever watch any other sports ever again. So, KSI and Logan Paul, you can probably learn a thing or two from this movie. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas as to what future videos you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. Right, well, I may as well finish this episode with my favourite quote from the Rocky series, which has to be, "It ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.